It's been a long time since the last time we showed you some SpongeBob errors like these ones. We still can't believe that errors of this caliber could exist.
I'll let you pet Mr. Whiskers! Wow! Ah! Jump for it, Patrick!
This SpongeBob movie was an absolute blast to watch. This movie broke many barriers in terms of what we usually see in SpongeBob, and apart from these awesome moments that we've shown you, it also had some cool animation errors. Let's take a look at these moments. SpongeBob and Patrick might be enjoying a great time driving the paddy wagon, but did you notice something strange in SpongeBob's head after he jumps off the vehicle? Well, our heroes might be having a near-death experience after running from that terrible monster, but SpongeBob literally lost his head. When SpongeBob jumps before the car falls down the cliff, we can see that the top part of his head becomes transparent for a small frame. This was really hard to catch.
I bring a message from the dawn of time.
What is it, Patrick?
Run!
Squirtosaurus rat!
I've become like all of you. Savage, fear-ridden, selfish. An entire town of formerly good citizens turned into heartless freaks, bent on their own
Preservation?
Yes!
If one SpongeBob movie wasn't good enough, we took a look at the second SpongeBob movie too. We're all pretty accustomed when it comes to madness in SpongeBob's adventures, but what about a little time travel? After Plankton and SpongeBob start their quest to regain the original Krabby Patty formula, a lot of weird and chaotic things happen. In this scene, we see how Patrick comes out of the time machine only to be pursued by a gigantic Squidward Saurus Rex. Of course, everything goes south when this dinosaur breaks the time machine and our heroes can't come back to their time. But look at the same scene a couple moments later and you can see that the time machine is fully repaired and ready to function. Strange, right?
Sorry about this.
It's not your fault, Patrick. You've been a true friend this whole time. Never wavered, never faltered. It's just, I failed, that's all.
So there's a 3D adaptation of SpongeBob's adventures? We found it very cool to revisit this 3D SpongeBob movie, and it didn't let us down. But apart from seeing SpongeBob in another perspective, we were able to find some cool errors. Let's watch this scene of SpongeBob and Patrick in jail. After our heroes get trapped in jail, we see that SpongeBob lays on the ground to get some rest, but if you watch his eyes when he starts to blink, you can notice that the eyelashes of one of his eyes disappear depending on the frame. A true blink and miss it moment.
Oh, there's no SpongeBob here to ruin it.
Oh boy, surgery! And on my first day, too.
Naughty night, Mr. Tentacles.
Wait, no.
Oh, hi, everybody!
Hi, SpongeBob!
Doctor, the patient's over here and he's ready for you to begin.
So it seems like SpongeBob is starting a new career as a doctor. Even if watching SpongeBob working outside of the Krusty Krab is weird enough, let's watch this scene when he's ready to perform surgery on Squidward. You probably didn't pay any attention to the people watching SpongeBob from the windows, didn't you? Well, if you look at them, you might have noticed that one of the spectators in the left window constantly changes the color of his skin depending on the frame. Cool detail.
Hey, kids!
Hey, I'm not paying you to play hide and seek.
cake!
So, Mr. Krabs wanted to create a new catering for wealthy people, but things didn't go as he wanted. Everything about this episode seemed right, or maybe not. At this scene, from the very start, we see that Mr. Krabs is arriving at what seems to be a birthday party, and there's a plankton piñata hanging in the left tree. Well, if you look at that same tree when Mr. Krabs jumps out of the car, you can see that the piñata has completely disappeared.
You're all enjoying my food!
I thought something was off.
No, you don't!
It was about time that SpongeBob opened his own restaurant. In this episode, SpongeBob took a big step toward his professional growth by making a restaurant of his own house, and well, he had a lot of clients. This scene might be one of the most representative moments of Mr. Krabs that we've ever seen. After getting jealous of SpongeBob's newfound fame, Mr. Krabs decides to go for a bulldozer so he can take out SpongeBob's restaurant. But isn't something missing here? Well, if you guessed that the chum bucket is missing, you were right. Mr. Krabs killed all the competition. Do you imagine how SpongeBob would behave if he had a fully covered life insurance policy backing him up? If SpongeBob is a very careless person in nearly every episode of the show, imagine how he behaved when he discovered that he had a great life insurance service. This led him to commit many irresponsible actions, but for now, let's look at this scene from the very start of the episode. It's sunrise in Bikini Bottom and everything has a pretty orangish tone. SpongeBob's house is ready for another adventure of our beloved protagonist, but where's the error? Well, if you're a longtime SpongeBob fan, you can see that SpongeBob's house is missing one of its windows. Maybe he should also have house insurance, too.
Huh? SpongeBob, what's going on?
Oh, hey, Sandy. Patrick and I are blah, blah, in the middle of a sports game.
The rule giver! I ain't never heard of a rule giver.
I prefer King of Sports.
It's been a long time since we saw a sports special on SpongeBob. We've always known that Sandy loves sports, but this episode shows us Patrick and SpongeBob in a very sporty way. Squidward woke SpongeBob and Patrick's competitive spirit after he created a new sport so he can annoy our favorite protagonists. But he didn't expect that Sandy would also try it and made a competition out of it. Let's watch this awesome moment from the episode. So, Squidward and Sandy are very big rivals now. After they create this big competition, we see that Sandy puts all her energy into trying to beat Squidward at everything she can, but something strange seems to happen to her in all these scenes. Well, when Sandy enters the stadium and right at the start of the competition, we see that her eyelashes are completely visible, but right when she gets closer to Squidward, her eyelashes are nowhere to be found. We love these small details.
What now, beautiful?
I wouldn't mind seeing you navigate a four-way stop.
Romance always has the right of way.
Oh. My.
Wow, SpongeBob has turned to the dark side now. SpongeBob's relationship with his driving license has been very turbulent throughout the show's history, and this episode shows exactly that. SpongeBob got in very big trouble during this episode after mistaking an escaped convict for his new driving instructor. He's so innocent, but what about his usual driving teacher, Mrs. Puff? Let's check out this scene. Seems like someone has found love. Here we see that Mrs. Puff is is flirting with her newfound love, Dorsal Dan, and having a great time in their car. Well, if you take a look at Dan, there's a moment in which his mustache suddenly disappears for a moment while he and Mrs. Puff are talking in the car. SpongeBob is not the only innocent here.
Here's where we get off. Thanks for the lift, Pearl. Don't you worry. Nobody's gonna eat you guys on my watch.
Everyone in SpongeBob has transformed into real animals. We know that wild animals are very susceptible to the moon cycle, right? Well, in this episode, every inhabitant of Bikini Bottom embraces its wildest side and transforms into very feral animals. Let's watch some cool moments from the episode. If you see this scene where Sandy is trying to calm every single one of her friends, you can see that her neck changes its color for a couple of frames. Maybe moonlight also affects her. So there you have it, SpongeBob fans. Those are some goofs and animation errors that you can find in SpongeBob SquarePants. If you want to see even cooler content from your favorite show, please subscribe to our channel. Goodbye!